Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I don't really have a lot of build to go through. Got 5 albums to do. Let's just do them as quick as we can. We start off in Fort Smith, our Kansas. Not my Kansas, it's not your Kansas, it's our Kansas. For Royal Cage Mary and their debut album, Matchstick Blues. So, this is a very, very, very new group. As I said, it's a debut. And this is actually something that a friend of mine recommended to me, so shout out to my good friend Kasky, who recommended this one. It's a sort of a Heartland, folky, bluesy country sort of act, and I'm giving the album, if I can remember where the hell, there it is, I'm giving the album B+. There are a lot of elements I quite liked to it. A lot of the instrumentation work was really fun. The lyricism was very dark and appropriately really good storytelling. It's not like the modern, like, bro Luke Bryan bullshit country that we get these days. You know, it actually feels like it comes from a place of honesty. I like the fact that it was just produced in the lead singer's bedroom. I don't know how many band members there are exactly, but I will say that the lead vocalist himself has one thing, an awesome beard. I want to pet it. And for another thing, he's got like a very smooth, deep tone that reminded me a little bit of the White Buffalo in a way, which is a good thing because I quite like me some White Buffalo, the artist, not necessarily the animal. Not that there's anything wrong with the animal, mind you. I like the production of it, though, because of it being handled that particular way. The album does fall short in its length, sort of ironically, because it is listed as a full album, but there's only 8 songs, and it's only about not even a full 21 minutes, so it does suffer a little bit there, but it's still really well paced despite that. I like a lot of the instrumentation work as well, you know. It just all fits in well, and there's really not as much to complain about. I just wish I got a couple more songs out of it, really. Next we go to Prospect Heights, Illinois for Screeching Weasel and their 15th album, The Awful Disclosures of Screeching Weasel. Now, before I carry on, I fucking love it when bands do that, when they sort of loosely self-title it like this, and calling it The Awful Disclosures of the band is really fun. These are a punk rock group. They've been around for a bloody long time, 36 years thereabouts, as long as you don't count the breakups, and I usually don't. I'm giving this album a B, though. I really liked how it has a lot of the typical punk energy that you would expect. However, it does suffer a little bit structurally because of the fact that there's a lot of songs on it, and a lot of those are quite short. They're just like, you know, short, angry punk bangers for the sake of being short, angry punk bangers. But when the band do focus more on the melody, they're really, really great. I like a lot of the instrumentation that they do. The bass work especially is actually quite good on this album. I like their production a lot. The lyrics are loosely storytelling based as well, mainly a theme of relationships, some political stuff, but not a whole lot. Definitely not for like Screeching Weasel's particular brands. And bear in mind, this is only my second album by them, because I listened to their last one, which was, I think, Some Freaks of Atavism, and I did like that one. I like this one a lot too, and Screeching Weasel are a staple of American punk for a reason. They got a really good sound, smart lyrics, you know, really good performances too. Obviously, Royal Cage Mary had really good performances as well. Yeah, just, again, quite a lot to like. Just really fun punk stuff. Next we go to San Diego, California for Secrets and their 5th album, The Collapse. Now, these are a band I'd heard about before and I'd heard a couple of songs of, but this is their first full album that I'm listening to, and it also came out last month, and I really needed to pad out last weekend's music because there wasn't really a lot that interested me, so I did keep this one on the back burner for... I wanted to do it like last week, but then I realised I've got too much stuff to cover last week anyway, so I pushed it back to this week. Really solid post-hardcore leaning metalcore, very much that pretty boy emo vibe of metalcore that you would get like in the mid-noughties, which is weird because this band formed in 2010, but very much by the time that scene was fading out. And I quite liked this album too. I'm also giving this one a B. Really enjoyed pretty much everything about it. The lyrical themes I could have done with less political stuff, but I do like that the band actually tried to hit that route. You know, it was a bit of a weird juxtaposition, but it's not something you really expect metalcore to focus on, and it's something that took me a while to adjust to as I was listening to it. The performances are really great. They are a band that utilise quite well a clean vocalist and an unclean vocalist, and those two vocalists' names are I don't remember, I have them here, I don't know who did what because I'm just like reading from my Discord review. Yeah, but there we go. Richard Rogers and Wade Walters. And because those are alliterative names, I automatically assume that they're just going to pop up in the MCU at some time. But that's just me. Yeah, no, still a really fun album too. The production's quite smooth on it. There is some weird dips near the end, like there's a couple of weirdly short songs that, or instrumental stuff that really didn't make a lot of sense to me and didn't really need to be there, especially like that late into the album, but besides that, I've been complaining about structures a lot in this episode, but besides that, still a very fun bit of metalcore, inoffensive, really, really good stuff, solid riffs too, so yeah, worth listening if you want something a little bit different that harkens back to an older age of metalcore. Next we go to Ridgewood, New Jersey for Senses Fail and their 8th album, Hell Is In Your Head. Now, there is a story behind this one, because for one thing, Senses Fail is one of my favourite bands, but for another thing, this album was supposed to come out a couple of years ago during the middle of the pandemic, and it was recorded during that time. And they wanted to get it out as a really quick follow-up to If There Is Light It Will Find You, and it was obviously going to be called What the Thunder Said, Hell Is In Your Head. But then shitloads of delays happened, and it was pushed back to last week, end-ish. And Senses Fail, as people know, are one of my favourite bands, and this album gets an A. There are some elements of it that do feel like a sequel to Still Searching, and the band have said as much. It was intended to be a sequel to that, although I haven't listened to that in full, and I did plan on doing it for a What a Concept episode, I just haven't done that yet. But the album is still absolutely fucking phenomenal. Like, the signature Senses Fail style riffs are there, the heaviness juxtaposed with the, like, melodic guitar work. I like the lyrics as well. I like how they mostly focus on James Buddy Nielsen, who's the lead singer. They mostly focus on his experiences with fatherhood, much like their last album, If There Is Light It Will Find You did. However, the difference here is that there's more of a mature tone with it, I would say, and it's something that Senses Fail have always had. There's a few less poetics, and there is a couple of weirdly out-of-place political songs, but I think if it just focused on, like, the story of a man trying to tell his daughter about the things he does, you know, and the fact that he's sorry for having to leave all the time simply because of his job, that could have been an interesting story if they kept it going the entire way through. But having said that, Senses Fail lyrics on everything I'm going to complain about, especially because of how real they feel. Structure-wise, it's really, really great. So the production's phenomenal. They work again with Bo Burchell on Pure Noise Records, which is still one of the best labels going for alternative music, in my honest opinion. And yeah, the performances are great, especially their drummer, Steve Carey. He is absolutely phenomenal. Buddy Nielsen's still a great vocalist. Everyone else is still really good on their instruments too, so yeah, I think it earned its A grade. And finally, we sort of go to New York for Travie McCoy and his second solo studio album, Never Slept Better. This is his first one since 2010's Lazarus, I think it was called. And this is another album I did need to pad out last weekend, but it's not something I'm going to complain about because I have been getting into more hip-hop recently. And I really liked this album. It also gets a B. One thing that I could have done without is the fact that the last few songs focus on him having sex for some reason, you know? And it's done in sort of like relationship way, but he focuses a bit too much on the sex for me, which is weird because when he starts out the album and goes through, there's more political leaning stuff. There's a song on here called A Spoonful of Cinnamon, which is my favourite song of the album, where he talks about the death of one of his friends before the pandemic kicked off. And obviously, around that time, you know, well, a few months later after following that would be the death of George Floyd, so that ties into it well too. And it was actually kind of cool when he was focusing on that stuff. It's a weird tonal whiplash, considering there's 17 songs and quite a few filler instrumental tracks that don't really help. That can hurt this a little bit, but Travie's performance is really good. Performance is really good. He comes off as very, very earnest. The beats are simple, and I couldn't really find much in terms of what it samples from, but there's still some really good classic style hip hop beats. It's very much a pop rap leaning album, but a very, very good one. I like the melodies on display. I like the vibe that it puts out, especially for like the summer, because goddamn, this year's summer has been fucking horrible. But yeah, Travie's a great performer. The structuring and the tone is a bit weird to me, but I liked everything else about it for the most part. You know, when it had a clear focus, it was honestly kind of cool. I just wish it kept it throughout the entire album. And that will about do it. Next thing I'll see you for tonight, night 3 of the Golden Path tournament. It's been going absolutely incredibly so far, so looking forward to doing that. And yeah, I can't really think of much else to promote. I'll see you tonight. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.